What is scaling in project management? I am so excited to talk to you about this topic because I've got two examples, one from a business standpoint and the other one from a construction standpoint, because I mostly talk about construction, although this applies everywhere, which there's nothing wrong with it. It's not book learning, but I'm not criticizing book learning. This is like real, tried and true, implemented things that I've been through that you're going to love. And I'm going to talk to you about how to scale from a business and operations standpoint and how to scale on a construction project. This is very important because there's lots of information. There's so many different books about how to scale. The actual best method for me for everything that we're implementing from a scaling standpoint, whether it's on a massive mega project or whether it's for business, has really come from lean thinking. So that's what I'm about to share now. And if you're interested in that, please stay with me on this video. I'm so excited. Let me actually tell you a story. When we were first in business, Kate, the CEO of our company, and my wife said that we were on the verge of scaling a mess. And I was like, okay, I really was open to it. But I was like, what do you mean? And her point was, if we get larger, then we have to have the systems in place to make sure that everybody that works here is an extension of us and we have the same quality. I told you that when I went to Japan with Paul Akers, that the culture there and in the surrounding areas is to focus on quality, people, quality, and process. In the United States, and I love the United States, but we focus too much on goals and finances. And so if you're focused on quality, then you'll make sure you have a good process, and those processes will be set up for people. And my point with that is that when we're scaling, we've got to make sure that we scale. Oh, that's so beautiful. That actually summed it up right there. And I'm just learning right here in this video. We have to be able to scale well with people. We have to be able to scale our process. We have to scale in a way that still delivers quality. Oh my gosh, this is like such a revelation in this video for me. And so that's what we meant. Scaling is your ability to grow and serve a larger customer base without sacrificing people, process, quality. That's the definition. Oh my gosh, so good. How do we do that? I'll probably just give you the examples and then give you some overall advice. Example number one, our business. We have a consulting firm, and right now we have over 85 people. And what's brilliant about this is most of them are between 22 and 28 years old. And when they interact with a project team, it's just as good a service as if they were dealing with me. In fact, there are clients that I've never even talked to that rely on our systems integrate with our people. This happens actually a lot. Like a high-profile project director or general superintendent will be like, Jason, I don't know where you got these people, how you trained them, what is going on, but like I would rather work with them than some of my senior superintendents. Now, I don't believe in throwing people away, so I'm just saying that's what they say. But we're scaling really well. A couple of the things that we did to scale really well when Kate brought that up, and I'll just give you like an overview of what's worked the best, because there's a lot to it. But number one, we focused on making sure that we had a healthy company culture with beautiful proximity. That means we're always working as a team. That's a little bit vague for me to describe, but that is crucial. Number two, we doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on internal training. I actually went through a list of the things that we did, and it's like 12 things deep. We have an advanced onboarding system. We have training by position. We have a Miro board, a visual training board for every single position, scorecards for every single position. The books, tax planning, tax steering and control, and elevating pre-construction planning, we wrote for our own people. So they have books, videos, podcasts, and I could just keep going on and on, but we doubled down. There isn't anybody in our organization that doesn't know how to do their job from a training standpoint. Third, and this was huge, we implemented phase gates. So as the folks in our organization start to work with clients or are working with clients, we have gates 1 through 8, which are check-ins throughout the process where we review and help. Every process from a project management standpoint must have gates where you check in with your people, check in with your projects, check in with your departments to make sure that they're maintaining that level of quality. Now I'm going to stop right there with that example because I think you get my point. Now let me talk about construction. Let's say you're going on to a mega project, okay? You have to scale. Let's say that instead of a couple $100 million, it's billions or multiple billions of dollars. Couple things, you have to break that project down into bite-sized chunks, and you break them down into functional areas with functional teams. And so if you have $1 billion project, that's nothing more than 4 to 10 smaller projects. And each individual project must have a project manager, a project superintendent, their own team, their own dedicated foreman, and their own project management systems. And then what happens is when you're scaling, it's the same thing. You get a really beautiful culture, you set them up with really nice training, and you make sure that you implement phase gates. You check in 1/3, 2/3 point, however you want to do it, every milestone, but you check in with those different project teams to make sure that they're stable. And then your schedule, your finances, your KPIs, everything summarizes up into this program master summary. Like for instance, that from a scheduling standpoint, we call it a program level master schedule. And that's basically where the core team or the executive team manages the entire program while you have these individual projects running. I think the term divide and conquer was you divide your enemy and conquer them. I need to find the terms for basically segment your own internal forces and conquer because you've done that. I think I've been using divide and conquer wrong all of these years. But anyway, the point is segment your forces to where they're smaller, more autonomous groups, not entirely autonomous, but more autonomous. And they're nimble teams where you can manage the project. And again, with the right people, the right culture, the right training, and the right phase gates and check-ins to make sure they're on the right track. And if you don't do that, you'll spiral out of control. Data centers are the big thing now. Like there are contractors and the contractors that should know better that are like, oh, this is a $1.5 billion project. I'll just run it like it was one project. They have one meeting for the project team, one meeting for their weekly trade partner meeting, one daily foreman huddle, and one worker huddle. You can't do that. You have to break those out by functional areas. And that is the best way to scale. Here are the questions. This is so good. Ask yourself, am I building humans? Remember that lean concept that I learned in Japan. We build people before we build things. Are you building humans through training programs that can scale and be a representation of you? In fact, real quick, just a quick pause. I realized that lean built people don't pay us to build construction projects. At Lean Tact, they don't pay us to help them schedule their projects. At Elevate, they don't pay us for training. Everywhere we are, they're paying us for our people, the quality of the people. We build people before we build things. Okay. Second is our process. Are the process, oh my gosh, this is so good. Are the processes solid and clear and visible? And one of the things that we're doing that I learned at Paul Akers, you're just going to have to bear with me. I'm always bragging about Asia. You go there and it's like a United States airport. There's signage everywhere. In fact, you might think there's too much signage, but nobody's asking where they have to go. There's signage, there's marks on the ground, there's visual systems everywhere. Okay, and what we have to do with our process is to make sure that they're documented on visual signs. And Paul Akers has these really neat little signs with pictures that say for every process, this is how you do it. At our company, every process has one of those. You can go to any of our boards, any of our systems, and know the process at a glance. And then the last thing is quality. Through your phase gates and your check-ins, you're going to make sure that the quality, if you were doing it, is no different than if one of your employees is doing it. So this is what scaling means in project management. And I'm going to put this into a blog post for you down below. But if you heard anything cool that I've been saying that you want to get, I'll send it to you. Just reach out to me in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to reach back out to you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.